Methods to remove paint from wood floors with steps. When paint finds its way onto wood floors, knowing the right methods for removal is crucial to prevent damage. This guide outlines effective techniques for paint removal, offering step-by-step instructions for each method. Whether dealing with wet or dried paint, these methods will help restore the natural beauty of your wood floors. Method 1, Solvent Method. For dried paint, Step 1, prepare the area before tackling paint drips on your wood floor. It's essential to set the stage for successful removal. Begin by gathering the necessary materials such as clean cloths, plastic putty knives, mild wood-friendly cleaner, and water. Open windows or doors to ensure proper ventilation. Step 2, test solvent compatibility before applying any solvent to the visible area of your wood floor. Test it in an inconspicuous spot to make sure it doesn't damage the wood finish. Step 3, wear protective gear. Put on disposable gloves and safety goggles to protect your hands and eyes from the solvent and any paint particles. Those particles might be dislodged during the process. Step 4, apply the solvent. Soak a clean cloth with the chosen solvent, rubbing alcohol, acetone, or paint thinner. Make sure the cloth is damp but not dripping. Place the damp cloth over the dried paint on the wood floor. Let it sit for a few minutes to soften the paint. Step 5, gently remove the paint after the paint has softened. Use a plastic putty knife or plastic card to gently scrape off the softened paint. Be careful not to apply excessive pressure or scratch the wood. Step 6, wipe and clean. Once the paint is removed, use a clean, damp cloth to wipe the area and remove any residual solvent or paint particles. Step 7, clean the floor after the paint is gone. Clean the entire floor using a mild wood-friendly cleaner to remove any remaining residue from the paint removal process. This will ensure the area looks uniform and clean. Step 8, restore and finish. Optional, if the paint removal has affected the wood finish, you might want to restore the area by applying a wood finish or wax according to the product's instructions. This step is optional but can help blend the treated area with the rest of the floor. Step 9, dispose of materials properly. Dispose of the used clothes, gloves, and any other materials soaked with solvent according to local regulations for hazardous waste disposal. Step 10, prevent future accidents. Learn from the experience to prevent future paint spills or splatters. Use drop cloths, masking tape, or other protective measures when painting near the wood floor. Method 2, heat and scrape method. For wet paint, Step 1, apply heat. Use a hairdryer or heat gun on a low setting. Then, hold it a few inches above the dried paint spot and move it back and forth. The heat will soften the paint without harming the wood. Step 2, scrape off softened paint. As the paint softens, gently scrape it off using a plastic putty knife or plastic card. Work slowly to avoid damaging the wood surface. Step 3, wipe the area. After removing the paint, wipe the area with a clean, damp cloth to eliminate any remaining residue. Step 4, clean the floor. Clean the entire floor with a mild wood-friendly cleaner to ensure it's free from any leftover residue. Step 5, restore and finish. Optional, if desired, apply a wood finish or wax to restore the appearance and protect the wood. Follow the product instructions. Step 6, prevent future accidents. Use protective measures like drop cloths or masking tape to prevent paint spills or splatters on your wood floors in the future. General steps to get paint drips off wood floor. Accidental paint drips on wood floors can be unsightly, but they need not be permanent. With the right approach, you can safely and effectively remove paint drips while preserving the beauty of your wood flooring. Following the steps will help guide you through the process of addressing paint drips and restoring the flawless appearance of your wood floor. Step 1, determine the paint type. Identify whether the paint is water-based or oil-based. Water-based paints are easier to remove than oil-based ones. If you're unsure, try rubbing a small area with a cloth dampened with water. If the paint starts to lift, it's likely water-based. Collect clean, soft cloths or paper towels, a plastic putty knife or plastic card, mild soap or wood-friendly cleaner, water, and a damp cloth. Step 2, Act promptly. The sooner you address paint drips, the easier they'll be to remove. Try to address them while the paint is still wet or freshly dried. Step 3, blot wet paint drips. Blot the area. For wet paint drips, immediately blot the area gently with a clean cloth or paper towel. Do not rub, as this could spread the paint. Damp cloth wipe. Dampen a cloth with water and gently wipe the area to remove as much of the wet paint as possible. Avoid scrubbing, as it could push the paint deeper into the wood grain. Step 4, soften dried paint drips. Optional, using a hairdryer or heat gun can soften dried paint for easier removal. Hold it a few inches above the paint and move it back and forth to soften the drips. Step 5, scrape off paint drips. Use plastic tool. For both wet and dried paint, use a plastic putty knife or plastic card to gently scrape off the paint drips. Be cautious not to scratch the wood. Angle the tool. Hold the tool at a shallow angle to the wood surface to minimize the risk of damage. Work slowly. Gradually work the tool under the paint drips and lift them off. Step 6, clean the area. Wipe with damp cloth. After removing the paint drips, wipe the area with a damp cloth to remove any residual paint or debris. Clean the floor. Clean the entire floor using a mild soap or wood-friendly cleaner to ensure uniformity in appearance. Step 7, evaluate the result. Check the area to ensure the paint drips are completely removed. If any residue remains, you can repeat the scraping and cleaning process. Step 8, finish and protect. Optional, consider applying a wood finish or wax to restore the wood's appearance and protect it. Follow product instructions. Step 9, prevent future drips. To prevent paint drips in the future, use drop cloths, masking tape, or other protective measures when painting in the vicinity of the wood floor. 9 tips to easily get paint off wood floors. Removing paint from wood floors can be a daunting task, but with the right tips and techniques, it becomes much more manageable. Here are some helpful pointers to help you easily and effectively get paint off your wood floors. Tip 1, use gentle methods when removing paint from wood floors. Avoid harsh abrasives or tools that could scratch or damage the wood. Opt for methods that involve minimal pressure and gentle materials. Tip 2, test in a hidden area before using any cleaning method on a visible part of the wood floor. Test it in a concealed area to make sure it won't harm the wood finish. This helps you avoid unintended damage to the floor's appearance. Tip 4, soften dried paint. Apply gentle heat to dried paint using a hairdryer or heat gun on a low setting. The heat softens the paint, making it easier to scrape off. Avoid using excessive heat that could damage the wood or paint. Tip 5, plastic tools. Opt for plastic putty knives or plastic cards when scraping off paint. These tools are less likely to scratch the wood surface compared to metal tools. Tip 6, solvents. Carefully when using solvents, choose mild options such as rubbing alcohol, acetone, or paint thinner. Apply the solvent to a cloth first and then gently rub the paint, working in a well-ventilated area to minimize fumes. Tip 7, patience is key. Be patient when removing paint. Rushing can lead to accidents or cause damage to the wood floor. Take your time to ensure effective and safe paint removal. Tip 8, gentle pressure. Apply only gentle pressure when scraping off paint to avoid damaging the wood. The goal is to lift the paint without harming the wood's surface or finish. Tip 9, clean up residue. After removing the paint, wipe the area with a damp cloth to remove any remaining paint residue or cleaning agents. This ensures a clean and uniform appearance.